Hi, Miss Colleton's class. My name is Jann Maser, and I'm an illustrator. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. Miss Colleton and I have been friends for a very long time. She asked that I answer some questions you had for me about being an illustrator. So I'm going to try to do that now the best I can. The first question you had for me was, how do you make your art so smooth? So there's different techniques and tools that you can use to give art different texture. For example, in the left-handed backward book, I used colored pencils with a blending marker over top to give it the appearance of smooth art. So you could also use paint or markers to do the same thing. The second question is, are you married? I am married to my husband, Rob. We've been married for 7 years. We have a little girl named Kara, and she's 2. And the third question is, how long did it take to draw all the pictures in the book? And it took about 6 or 7 months, I think, to draw all the pictures, and that includes planning and drawing and redrawing to get it just right. It took about a half a year. The fourth question is, how did you get to be so good at illustrating? And that's a really nice question. I have always loved to draw. When I was a little girl, art was my favorite subject in school, so I've been drawing for a very long time. So I practice a lot. I think when you want to be good at anything, practice is what you have to do. So I draw every day in my sketchbook, whether it's for work or just practice, I draw every day. Fifth question is, what is your favorite part about illustrating? I think my favorite part about illustrating would be getting to use my imagination. That's a lot of fun to do. I also enjoy getting to draw and do art every day. So I get really excited when I get to go to Michael's and pick up art supplies. It's always a lot of fun for me. It's like going to a toy store. So I think there's lots of things that I like about illustrating, but getting to use my imagination and getting to, paint and draw every day those are some of my favorite things about it. Number 6 is, what are the steps you take when illustrating a book? And that's a really good question. It depends on the project, but there's usually about 5 basic steps that you take to illustrate a book. And the first is to the planning period, where you read through the manuscript and you decide what kind of pictures you want to draw and what kind of medium you want to use, whether you want to paint or do black and white pen sketches. So the planning is the first step, and the second step is to do a rough draft of the sketches of the book. And so sometimes I'm the only one that knows what the pictures are supposed to be. It's so rough. It's such a rough draft. And then I take those pictures, and the third step, they go into a dummy book. So I actually have an example of one right here. It's basically just stapled together paper. It's not very fancy. And you plan out the book and show where the pictures are going to go. And again, it's just it's another rough draft of what the book is going to look like. And then the fourth step would be final sketches. So I really that's when the real drawing comes to life, and you draw and redraw till you get what you want. And then the fifth step is I use a light box, and I basically trace my image, my final draft image, I trace it onto good paper, good art paper, and that's when I start to do the final images that are then sent off to the printing company to print the book. The seventh question is, what tools do you use when creating your illustrations? And that depends a lot on the project that you're doing. So, like I said, I used colored pencils for the left-handed backward book. I've also used pen and ink. I've used just regular pencil, some watercolor pencils. This last project that I worked on, it's an illustrating project, and I used scissors and paper, and this is my workstation right here, and this is just some of the stuff I have. This is all filled with colored pencils and paints and and erasers, and like I said, I go crazy when I get to go supply shopping. So there's all different things you can use to create illustrations. The 8th question is, are you working on illustrations for a book right now? And I am actually. Since having my daughter, I've read her tons and tons of children's books, and it's inspired me to write and illustrate my own children's books. So I'm working on several things right now. I'm also working on a project right now, and I'm illustrating the words to a song. So what I do is I make little cutouts, like you see right here, to illustrate the words in a song that talks about the history of the 50 states. So most recently I did one on North Carolina. So I hope I answered all your questions the best I could. I do love talking about illustrating and talking about art, and I suggest if it's something that you like to do, you just, practice at it. There's all kinds of different jobs you can have where you get to be creative, and this is just one of them. So I hope you all have a good day. Bye-bye.